This is Epoch Times reporting. It says virus tolls similar despite governors' contrasting actions. And a bit further down, it says, despite their differing approaches, California and Florida have experienced almost identical outcomes in COVID-19 case rates. How have two states that took such divergent tracks arrived at similar points? And this is according to Amesh Adalja, a senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. She said, this is going to be an important question that we have to ask ourselves. What public health measures actually were the most impactful, and which ones had negligible effect or backfired by driving behavior underground? Now, though research has found that mask mandates and limits on group activities such as indoor dining, quote unquote, can help slow the spread of the coronavirus, states with greater government-imposed restrictions have not always fared better than those without them. In other words, even despite believing in science that the mask mandates and indoor dining bans work, really in terms of the way the virus actually played out, it made very little difference. And if you deal with some other issues such as government officials abusing their power and getting more than 10,000 people killed like Cuomo, well, then it goes a bit in the opposite direction. Now, why does this matter? Now, I've mentioned before, the lockdowns, the mask mandates, this was the Chinese Communist Party's model for dealing with this virus. And the very idea that this was the way to handle it, and it was somehow a logical and functional way to handle it, was based on the fact that Chinese Communist Party was telling the world it had the whole thing under control, and it was promoting this as the method for dealing with the virus. You might remember going back last year, right? There was news from inside China. The WHO, the World Health Organization, was claiming that China had everything under control, no human-to-human transmission, nothing to be concerned about. That if you lock down travel from China, you were a racist. Like Trump locked down travel from China, he was called a racist. While many government officials like Nancy Pelosi were literally partying in Chinatown and calling Trump a racist. Right? Remember all that? Now, that helped validate through all these narratives that the lockdowns and mask mandates were a functioning way of dealing with this virus. And because the WHO was presenting this to the world and saying this was the way to do it, right? The different countries in the world began adopting this method as soon as the virus started spreading. And now we're seeing that this method actually doesn't seem to have made any difference other than destroying economies, allowing governors to change election laws, and giving government more control over our daily lives.